Welcome back, Outlaws. In this episode, we'll be exploring a Native American village in the Southern California Yuha Desert and checking out what they left behind. So stay tuned. In case anybody's interested, this area is located about 3 miles north of the border with Mexico. We located this settlement by noticing unusual concentrations of rocks in an area that they wouldn't normally be. That meant that somebody must have brought them there. Along with the rocks, like these here, we noticed lots of lithic material. These are chips or flakes left over from the tool-making process. This rock that you see right here is a great example of what's left over after the tool-making process. Also known as flint knapping, the indigenous peoples of this area were highly skilled in making tools with this process. Looking down, we see our first sherds of pottery. This is broken and laying in several pieces. I'm not sure if it came from the same pot or the same vessel, but these are a great indicator, along with the lithic material and some of the other items that we see, that this was a big settlement. There was a lot of people here making tools, making pottery, and living. This broken piece of handstone, a key artifact in Native American culture, was used for grinding grains and seeds into flour. This process connected people to their food, turning raw ingredients into something essential for everyday life. It's a tangible link to the past, showcasing the ingenuity of those who came before us. These rocks here, see the discoloration? That's not just random staining. That's heat damage. They've been in a fire. Whether it was for cooking, warmth, or ceremony, fire leaves its mark. And when you find stones like this, it's a strong sign people were here. Now we add in the pottery fragments, the handstone used for grinding, and the chipped lithic material. Each one tells a story. Together they paint a picture of daily life. Food was prepared, tools were made, and fires were built. This isn't just a scatter of artifacts. This is a footprint of a settlement, a place where people lived, worked, and passed down traditions. This is a pumice stone, lightweight, porous, and unmistakably volcanic. But here's the thing, there's no volcanic activity anywhere near this site. So this stone had to travel, and it did, hundreds of miles south, likely carried through trade routes that stretched from volcanic regions of the north all the way down into this desert basin. That journey alone tells us something powerful. This wasn't an isolated group. They were connected, trading, sharing, and moving goods and stories across vast distances. Pumice had practical uses, abrasive enough for smoothing wood, polishing tools, even preparing hides. But it also held value. A stone like this might have been prized and used in ceremonies, passed hand to hand, generation to generation. It's a quiet witness to the reach and rhythm of ancient life. This smooth stone right here is a burnishing stone, not just a tool, but a finishing touch. After shaping and drying the clay, the native potters would use the stones like this to polish the surface, rubbing it gently until the pottery shined. It wasn't just about looks, it helped seal the surface, making the vessel more durable and water resistant. This is another great example of lithic material left over from the toolmaking process. This small patch of ancient charcoal might not look like much, but it's powerful. Charcoal like this is the residue of fire, preserved through time. It marks a moment when someone gathered fuel, sparked flame, and tended heat. Maybe it was for cooking, maybe for warmth, or maybe even for ceremony. Charcoal doesn't travel far, it stays where it was made. So when you find it here, it's a strong sign. People were present. They lived, they worked, and built lives in this exact spot. It's quiet evidence, but it speaks volumes. Now, this pile of rocks right here isn't random. Somebody sat here working stone. You could see it in the chips, the scatter, the way it's laid out. This was a tool making spot. They weren't just surviving, they were crafting, shaping edges, testing flakes, and figuring out what worked. Now it's quiet, but you can feel the rhythm if you listen close. This was a workplace, a place of focus, of skill, and standing here, you're right in the middle of it. This image of a native person cooking over an open fire, it's more than a scene, it's a window into daily life. Meals weren't just about nourishment, they're about gathering, sharing, and surviving together. The fire was the heart of it all. Out here in the dust, I'm finding remnants, pottery sherds, scattered but unmistakable. These pieces once held food, water, and maybe even medicine. They were handled, washed, and used again and again. And now, centuries later, they're still here, a quiet witness to life lived right here on this land. As we look at more pottery sherds, different colors, different thicknesses, some are tan and some are gray, and even some are red. That tells us something important. Not all of these were made here. Some of this pottery was likely brought in from other regions, traded, gifted, or carried by travelers. Each piece has its own fingerprint, different clay sources, different firing techniques. It's a reminder that this wasn't an isolated place. People moved through here. They brought things with them, and they left pieces behind. These fragments speak to a connection, to a movement, and to the network of life that stretched far beyond this one spot. Looking at this piece, you can really see how smoothly polished it is in the reflection of the sun. Here's another gathering of rocks where tools were made. Look for these when you're out exploring. That's a good indication that humans were once here. This bone fragment, dense, heavy, and almost fossilized. It's been here a long time, but look closer. You can see small cut marks along the surface. That's not random, that's human. Someone worked this bone. Maybe they were butchering, maybe they were shaping it into a tool, maybe preparing it for ceremony. Whatever the purpose, those marks are intentional. They're quiet evidence of hands at work, of life lived right here, long before we showed up. With the amount of lithic material scattered about, this must have been a huge settlement, heavily populated by humans for several centuries. This red pottery sherd stands out. The color, the texture, it's not local. Clay around here doesn't fire like that, which means this piece was brought in, traded, carried, maybe even gifted. It's a small fragment, but it tells a big story. Whoever lived here wasn't cut off. They were connected, part of a network stretched across regions. And this little piece of red clay is proof of that movement, proof that ideas, goods, and people flowed through this land. Now this piece is rare for this area, a pottery sherd with faint traces of red paint. It's a rim piece, and if you look close, real close, you can just barely make out the pigment. I didn't get a tight shot of it, but it's there. That little bit of paint tells us a lot. This wasn't just utilitarian, it had a design, intention, maybe even meaning. Painted pottery like this is uncommon out here, which makes this fragment all the more special. It hints at cultural expression and identity, at somebody taking the time to add beauty to function. And now, here's our final piece, a large piece of pottery sherd, big enough to fill the palm of my hand. It's solid, worn, and still holding its shape after all these years, a quiet reminder of the hands that made it, used it, and left it behind. As we close out with this parting shot of the desert, I just want to say thank you to everyone watching, subscribing, and coming along this journey with us. Your support means the world. These discoveries aren't just about artifacts, they're about connection and about honoring the past and sharing the story. And as always, thanks for watching.